Hey, this just shows you that Babylon, America, rules the nations in anger, and it's a continual stroke. And I spoke on that yesterday at the camp, and I was going into Isaiah the 14th chapter, and I think the fourth verse on down, and I mentioned sanctions and trade embargoes and tariffs. And this is just more proof of that, man. So it says here 29 million deaths linked to EU and US sanctions study. The unilateral measures were associated with more than 560,000 excess deaths annually from 1971 to 2021, a recent study suggests. You see that? And this is the stats. This is the stats. And the math doesn't lie, because math goes back to the Hebrew word amoth, which just means truth. So this is the truth that's coming out. And the Lord, man, is doing this. He's removing the covering cast off of the people. Now the Lord is waking these people up to who is Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, which is the truth, and also to who is the devil. And the finger is being pointed at Esau Edom, which rules over the Western world, starting with America. You're the devil. Everybody's calling you out. And all the math and the stats is pointing to you. All the data shows that you are the devil. And this is just more proof. 29 million deaths, man. That's a lot. From 1971 to 2021. So that just simply means 560,000 deaths per year within this time frame, man. 1971 to 2021. That's serious, man. 29 million deaths. That's insane. And that's just through sanctions. Sanctions, yo. Now let's get the word sanction. Now, before I do that, I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakahak Wadash. And this is the son of Zion. My name is Brother Gabar Ya'Allah, and Lord willing, this will be edifying and thought-provoking in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Also, double honors to the elders and apostles and bishops of GMS that do teach well. To you, I say shalom. Now, yeah, so let's get the word sanction here. It says sanction. This is the AI overview. Sanctions are punitive economic, diplomatic, or military measures imposed by a government or international body against a country, entity, or individual to compel a change in behavior, address international peace and security concerns, or punish actions like gross human rights violations or significant corruption. They restrict activities such as trade, financial transactions, and travel, and can range from comprehensive embargoes to targeted asset freezes, travel bans, and arms restrictions. It's funny, man. Don't you find it ironic how they can put sanctions on the whole world and judge the whole world, but yet they're the most corrupt country on the earth? They have committed so much human rights violations, especially how America was birthed, man. There were a lot of crimes against humanity that took place. First of all, you stole the Native Americans' land, which the Native American the Native Americans and the indigenous tribes, they go back to Israel, starting with Gad, Reuben, all the way down to Issachar, man. So yeah, you committed mass genocide over here, and you stole their land, and then you put them on reservations, and then poison them. You poison their land, and then you poison their food. And that also takes place over here in Canada. There's a reserve in Ontario called Grassy Narrows, and that their lake over there is polluted by mercury, man, and they're catching hell over there. There's certain reserves, man, they don't even have running water. It's worse than third world conditions. So that's a human rights violation. But here it is, North America, starting with America and Canada, they say that, oh yeah, we're a first world country, and we pride ourselves in that. We're number one. But you have all these problems. But then you can go out and judge the world and put sanctions on these different countries, man. Bunch of hypocrites. But, Scripture says in Job, the joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. You're a fucking hypocrite, man. You're a hypocritical nation. Hypocrites. But your joy is for a moment, man. You're going to be taken down. And who's going to take you down? Yahweh Shai, man. He's coming back to do so. Remember, Revelation 1 and 18 says he has the keys of hell and death. And you're about to experience hell and death in these last days, man. But you see that? So that's messed up. How they can just judge the world when they don't even follow their own laws, these people. But that's the devil. That's the devil. And the world is waking up to the fact that you are the devil. The truth is out there. The truth is out there. The Lord has removed the covering cast over the people, which is their minds, you know. The Lord is opening up these people's minds to the truth with all these different stats, the statistics, and also the men of the Lord going out on the highways and byways, exposing this devil for who he is, and also bringing out the true name of the Lord. People have to acknowledge the Lord now. We're in that time. And people have to acknowledge who the devil is. And everybody's pointing their finger at you, Esau, Edom. You. Now it says types of sanctions, targeted sanctions. These are designed to restrict commercial and financial relations with specific individuals or entities, often by freezing their assets and preventing them from entering a country. This approach aims to minimize harm to innocent civilians by focusing on malicious actors. Okay, but let's focus on economic embargoes, you know, because that's what I really went into, and that's what this article is going into, you know, economics, really. So it says these are broad prohibitions on most economic activity with a designated country, which can also include restrictions on air travel and ship docking. True. And the reason why, you know, these nations, they get sanctions put upon them, it's not necessarily just for human rights violations and corruption. It's because those countries are not down with the NWO. They're trying to separate themselves from America and the NWO, really the beast system. So that's why these nations, they get sanctions put upon them. That's why they become poor. That's why their leaders are demonized. And the people catch a lot of hell. And you saw that over the years with these different nations that didn't want to go down, that weren't really down with the game. You know, Iraq, Iran. You got Gaddafi with Libya. That guy, he got killed too. Yeah, and the list goes on. Also North Korea. Some of those nations that don't want to follow the rules. So it's not just about human rights violations and corruption. It's just because certain nations are not down with the NWO. And when you go into Revelation, the 13th chapter, it talks about that. Whoever is not down with the beast system, they will be killed. You know, roughly paraphrasing. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. This is Revelation chapter 13. I think it's 15. Yeah, here it is. This is Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Yeah, if you're not down with the system, if you're not down with the NWO, the plans, you're not down with the chip, the Romanized way of doing things, you're going to be put to death. And that's exactly what happened to these different nations and their leaders. And that's why that's why their economies are destroyed. So that's this devil. That's how he's getting down, man. All right, so now let's go into the etymology of the word sanction. So I have it right here. It's from Edom Online Dictionary. It says sanction, a law or decree, act of decreeing or ordaining. So these sanctions, man, they're law, and it has to be followed. And a law is a law, man. Hey, a law is final. But what does the scripture say about decrees, man? Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. Let's pull that up, because everything that the EU, the UN, the United States is doing to these nations, it's unlawful. It isn't really righteous. Hold on. Remove this. Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. So let's read it in the NLT. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. That's right. These sanctions are very unfair. You know why? Because when you go into these different sanctions, they say things like, okay, we're gonna take we're gonna put economic sanctions on you because you're not dishing out women's rights, or you have LGBT violations. You got to treat homosexuals better, right? Things like that. That's how these nations get sanctions put upon them too, and that's unfair because when you go into the stacks about homosexuality and living that reckless lifestyle, it actually destroys your nation. You know what proved that? Hitler in the 1920s, man. When you go into the 1920s of Berlin, this is after when Hitler came in and he took out the Sin City, which was Berlin of that time. He got rid of all those sodomites, and he also got rid of them Khazars, because there was so much debauchery going down. It was actually destroying society. And as soon as he took those people out, he took the Khazars out, and he got rid of sodomy and all of that. Yo, Germany moved up a level. Germany got really strong. And then after, World War II happened. World War I and then World War II happened. That was crazy. For World War II, I mean. Sorry, not World War I, but World War II. It happened right after that. And then, Germany got taken down. But still, you can't send people to the moon. You can't create innovative things on the earth if you have a society full of degenerates. And that's what these leaders, they're trying to avoid that. But the United States are like, nope, you gotta have all of this. You gotta put that. And then that's why they buck up. And then after they just go through hardship. So that's very unfair, man, to put certain sanctions like that on people because they don't want to follow a certain lifestyle. Anyway, this is verse 2. It says, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. True. And this, in the context of this precept here in verse 2, yes, it's talking about our people first and foremost, because our people right now, they're not receiving justice. They're being denied their rights, and they're also a needy people. The widows, they're being taken advantage of, and that leaves our nation full of orphans. That's actually literally happening, and it's also spiritually happening. And that starts with the rulers. The rulers are doing this. The rulers the rulers of Israel, they're corrupt, and also you have the rulers of the different nations. They're taking advantage, they're exploiting and manipulating our people and denying them their rights. So that's actually taking place, right? But that's what sanctions do, man. It turns aside the needy. It takes away the right from the poor. And the very vulnerable are affected the most. That goes into women, children, and the elderly. And that's what these sanctions are doing. When you go into the article, you'll see that. So I'll read it. Read a little bit of it. It says, Western sanctions contributed to nearly 29 million excess deaths worldwide over 5 decades, a toll comparable to that of wars according to a recent study. The research published last month in the Lancet Global Health has gained attention around the world, examining age-specific mortality in 152 countries from 1971 to 2021. Sorry for the noise. There's a train going by here. It's a lot there. Using statistics from the Global Sanctions Database, researchers compared mortality rates before and after sanctions, tracking long-term trends to estimate their toll in excess deaths. They focus on 3 sanctioning authorities: the UN, the US, and the EU, which, by the way, the UN is headed by what? Or by who, I mean? The United States, which goes back to Isaiah 14, going into the king of Babylon, and also Jeremiah 51, the hammer of the whole earth, which that is America, the US, and the EU. The EU, once again, who is at the head of the table of the EU? America, and its predecessor. We estimate that unilateral sanctions over this period caused 500 564,258 deaths. So that's just an estimate, which we know what an estimate is. An estimate is going into like an educated guess, pretty much. So I'm gonna say this: there's probably more deaths that probably happened, and I think they're downplaying it. I really believe so. I think they're downplaying this stat, because they lie with statistics. These devils, they like to downplay things. Anyways, it says deaths per year similar to the global mortality burden associated with armed conflict. The authors noted with a total of 28.8 million deaths across the 51-year span. So each year, man, 564,258 people die a year just from sanctions, man. That is insane. And it says here, we found the strongest effects for unilateral economic and U.S. sanctions, whereas we found no statistical evidence of an effect for UN sanctions. Most excess deaths occurred among the most vulnerable, the very young and elderly. Yeah. Our findings reveal that the unilateral and economic sanctions, particularly those imposed by the USA, lead to substantial increases in mortality, disproportionately affecting children younger than 5 years old. The study said, noting that the age group accounted for 51% of the total death toll. The report found that the sanctions undermine economic and food security, often causing hunger and health problems among the poorest. Additionally, you see, and it talks about the poor of my people. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And then on top of that, they lose their lives. And that starts with our people too. But yes, this is affecting the whole world. These heathen nations. All right? So from 1971 to 2021, man. Wow. That's crazy. You see, this is why this devil's got to go. He's a tyrant, man. He's a fucking tyrant, man. So he kills old people, little kids, and also women too. A damn coward, man. But anyways, it says, additionally, the dominance of the dollar and euro in global transactions allowed the US and EU to amplify the impact of their sanctions. You see? And it starts with the money. You don't really got to go in there and bring in your military. It really starts with controlling the money. Remember, they're able to inflate the dollar, they're able to inflate the euro, and it causes these other nations to go bankrupt. And that's why they can't feed their population. They can't feed their nation. You see? That's why this place has got to go, man. That's why we need Yahweh Shai. All right, so let's get some precepts and close up. Let's go to Isaiah 14. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4. And it says, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Yeah, I had to let that noise pass, man. There was a bratty kid that didn't want to leave the park. His parents had to take him away. So, yeah, man, sorry about the noise, man. Yo, but that was loud. That kid was screaming loud, man. Anyways, it says, the golden city ceased. Verse 5, Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. So yeah, he's taken down the wicked. And this place is no longer going to be called the golden city, the great city. Because Babylon, when you go back to the book of Daniel, it was the head of the statue. So it means it was the top kingdom on the planet back then. And it was the head of gold when you go back to Nebuchadnezzar's dream. So gold is a very high tier metal, right? It's the highest tier. So it's a very prominent and strong and rich kingdom. So they're no longer going to be that golden city. And the Lord has broken the power of the evil rulers, starting with the elite banking families, pursuing to Psalms 64th chapter, the elites. Verse 6, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. You see? So let's read in verse 6 here in the NLT. You struck the people with endless blows of rage. Hey, and them endless blows of rage is going into them sanctions, man. We went into the AI overview, which we know sanctions, when you go to the etymology of the word, the origin of the word, it's a law or a decree. So he he struck the people with endless unrighteous decrees, man. Okay, so it says, blows of rage, and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. That's very tyrannical, and this shows you take away a nation's ability to provide for itself and to feed its own population, and that's what you've done. And you've affected the vulnerable, the very young and the elderly, man. You've affected them, and that's sad, man. That's messed up. We got to get the hell up out of here. You see, in the kingdom, we're not going to be doing stuff like this. People are going to have food, fresh water. They're going to have the ability to provide for themselves. And yeah, man, you're going to live well. Live good. Look at this. This is terrible. Look at this kid, man. It's terrible. It's terrible, man. So verse 7, it says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Everybody is going to rejoice when you go down. Everybody. And when you read on down, it says even the fir trees are going to rejoice when you go down. That's the trees, the plant life, the vegetation, the animals. Yeah, but the whole world is going to be happy when Esau Edom is taken down. And when Israel comes into power, everybody's going to rejoice. So let me get this. Jeremiah chapter 51. And it says here, Jeremiah 51. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I said Jeremiah 51. It was Jeremiah 50, going into the hammer of the whole earth. Okay, so America is the whole hammer of the earth. So it was Jeremiah 50. My fault. I have to correct that. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? You see? So it says here in the NLT. My bad. Come on now. Very sensitive, my screen here. So it says, Babylon, the mightiest hammer in all the earth, lies broken and shattered. Babylon is desolate among the nations. Who's going to take down that hammer of the earth? Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. So if you're a hammer, if you're the mightiest, it means you are the world's hegemon. You're a superpower. And also you're able to judge and rule over the nations. And it's showing right now that America is the hammer, because America is over the UN and the EU. And they're able to police the whole world. Even though they don't have their own house in order. Even though they commit so much human rights violations. And they've destroyed many peoples within their own land. But they're still able to go out there and police the whole world and influence the world. So, hey, America is the hammer of the earth. And America is Babylon in the spirit. So with that, hope this was edifying. And I hope I wasn't too long-winded. I just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahak, Wadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS. This is the Son of Zion signing out. My name is Brother Gubari Allah. Lord willing, I come back with the next one, and it will be edifying. Kwame Yasha Allah, Ababa Bal Shalawam.